do not want to put names up. But I have a post I want to add to this.
They need to know they can call you as soon as they can, and you will take them in and make a safe environment for them. You need to put their basic needs, shelter, food, and education, aside to make sure their mental health is taken care of. Feeling loved, wanted and safe are the main thing for young children, primarily depending on their age and temperament. You just need to know what makes them tick so you can adapt to the situations carefully.
This is
Facebook post from MeetSpace Metaverse. A common tactic of abuse is compartmentalization. The notion that an issue is about if we want to be any kind of shitty perpetual teenagers and selfish assholes without accepting the ineptitude of behaving like space aliens with power instead of being actual competent loving grown-ups. It's about fucking time that some sacrifices are done for the good of all. But that wasn't fair. How the fuck is it not fair? Speak them. Carve them into a table. That's how it happened in the first place.
I'm going to undo that.
Comment number 1. Discusses uttering swear words about this latest aspect of heartless cruelty. Your loyal audience thinks arguing allows the abuser to win because it implies that their presence has some kind of effect on you. In what way are you affected? Give me something, anything. They beg for scraps, and when they get nothing it reinforces their abuse. Their choice of swear words showed immaturity and a superficial fascination with sound. Endorphin, swear words weren't used, nor is this really characterizing the exchange this post is vaguely referring to. But thanks for playing. Holy shit, calm down. Here are my optimistic assumptions. First, there were swear words flung around. Maybe even fuck, which was good-humored or playful. Maybe not, but it was definitely fucking close enough. Second, I had already implied that the other person's presence irked the life out of me on a good day with restrained tone. Your loyal audience. Endorphin, I don't prize loyalty that involves getting to support someone regardless of whether or not you agree with them. Insults flung around nonchalantly, and not even calling anyone a bitch. Are you rewriting history? What I am reading is fluff compared to that Facebook excuse for a rant. SCR1TCH, wow, sounds like someone doesn't get that their team lost. Why you are upset because it's revisionist history, as I surely can't remember every stupid thing I blurted out. But we are both writing fiction here, crying hypocrisy is pretty crybabying. Endorphin, tell me the last time you were maturely hypocritical. You just claimed that throwing swear words around and mentioning my female team member in a sexual or intimidating way was inappropriate. And now you've done both of those things. Plus self-victimization. Thanks for writing this piece of ear post telling me you won the war with your summer of comedy. But I didn't win any type of summer with comedy. SCR1TCH. When I called, you a failed victim blamer when you said friggin' brain a helping him get me in the damn habitat. Endorphin, huh? SCR1TCH. At some point of timelessness ago in the annals of Scritch's edit history, I apparently unbooted and blasted you for calling that one kid a victim blamer who had left detailed advice for helping me like 5 minutes after he had mentioned the trouble I was giving him. I'm not very proud about this fact. It was a while ago and it was at a time when Scritch was A, less based and B, not as responsible of a general life decision. Not everyone is capable of forming abstract thoughts. Fact, I recently had to remind someone closer to home, who's grown from fetal alcohol syndrome attacks of confusion to over-friendly alcoholism as an adult with a list of resentments and reflexive mistrust of atrocities triggered by software green text online commentators. Poor thing.
That was my alarm. That was my alarm. I set an alarm. What was this alarm? Interesting. Why would I set an alarm that's 7 days, except for Monday and Tuesday? And it's 6:30. Why would I set an alarm? And this one alarm I set to be just 1 day. this Truvada alarm, which is not Truvada alarm because I don't have Truvada. I do have Truvada, but I don't take it because I was turned off. I turned off probably. I don't know. I've been navigating without a paycheck. I've been doing grassroots harm reduction in people's homes, not business hours. It's not a part of my job, but it's essential. I have been interacting with the potentially abusive personality that's using magical practices against people who are vulnerable. I talked with a guy about the use of GHB as a way of amplifying hypnotic suggestion, which itself modulates pain and pleasure in people. And if people aren't aware of that, then they're especially vulnerable to it. I've been doing a lot in the wee hours and the hours leading up to my work day. Not every day. I try to have enough sleep. Oh, bring back company, shall we? I don't know.
And now for something completely different. Endorphin's job. While serving as a key element of Alice's fantastic escapism, why not turn your job into one by using it to make bank? First, you'll need a computer to link up to the UBNT database through. Second, it won't work without leeching off of other freeloaders. No system ever invented has ever been able to prevent that. Last but certainly not least, prevent security. Team up with a nice set of Israeli cybersecurity boys. They're far out of your price range, but time has proven that it's a bad idea to say no to the world's fastest rising economic superpower. You figure that with those ultranationalists practically giving away funding nowadays in exchange for relations, this relationship wouldn't hurt you any. underestimate the team's capacity for skullduggery. The cash flow is unpleasant to deal with, but if you want it easy, you wouldn't have chosen a technological innovative building technique instead. The only proof left by the hackers, a nice grey-haired gentleman walking around all day and staring at covered server rigs. 90% of your content, then, gone. And they all assume it was child porn. Sell half the servers, get on a better bandwidth plan. Prominent citizen pitching contest reality TV show Apartment Hunt. Assure the world that all the child porn was in fact confirmed to be compliant under USC 2257. Alone know how mercurial these judges can be as far as their satisfaction. A bunch of soft drink giants want your tech after all the publicity you've given it, so they retroactively front all the expenses under the table they can. Lawsuits follow. Refuse to budge at first, since that would only enrage independent invention laws too much, but when some slack jaws try to subpoena witnesses like Attila head hordes, settle out of court eventually. Blow the cast wide open with some incendiary evidence culled from the Pegasus app. Highlight not just some, but all illegal activity. Every defendant has criminal records in at least half of their indictments. Do not mention anything about law breaking yourself, focus on the victims alone. Everyone from that app seems at least open to improvement. So brace for hateful backlash on Parent.io, its investigation section filled especially with smarmy comments by unemployed losers living with their moms or dad. Send to their moms and or dad a hand-printed. Meanwhile, dismantle the servers and have them dropped off at the ACLU protests that are being broken up by overzealous police officers in unicorn riot neckties. Leave a 10-page spread of legalese and rights in their backseat jammed into their glove box when they go for a lunch break. Attach a little audio chip that when they open the box, yells, "You've been served." And as a bonus, slowly leaks pig blood all over their underwear. Just their underwear, that is key. No one wants to see dead farm animals on television, so it only hurts them when they smell the same as all the scented turds the pigs produce. When those sissy feminists sniffed at you and their precious inclusion or whatever agenda, flip them off and call their bluff. Remember, no one has to wash their underwear if they don't want to, right? And the pig blood is a definite aphrodisiac. If they try to talk about rights or policies in a stinky back room, try not to take it personally. Just in case the video of you dismantling these pedophile servers goes viral, you wanted to be able to plausibly deny all knowledge. And now for something completely different. Endorphin ropes you into a twisted scam that also serves your own musical cause. He's a young 18, simultaneously enthusiastic about exposing corruption and eating a box of melted cheesy fries. You sneak for him, try to steal the district attorney's family photos with ulterior motives. That bumbling fake Republican prick won't sentence child pornographers with shit like this just laying around in his office, right? Tune into Endorphin and Exum, Tuesday at 8 p.m. on C-SPAN After Dark. And now for something completely different. 15 tips on not tipping. So you try to tip the scales in the right direction because someone's got to do it. But when the lulls in your stakes raising happen, it is really easy to feel like what you're engaging in has no purpose. Well, that is just an insecurity that will grumble with some effort and stubbornness. Remember, jerking consumerism in the right direction is a slow and difficult process. Boba bankers must instead play Reliant David for a change, however. Tip 1. It is frequently not about you, but that doesn't mean taking said remarks with a grain of salt won't help your cause. Remember, hate the bad system, not the huddled masses that they prey upon via Ponzi scams and like. Tip 2. Instead of making quick bucks on the backs of fellow credulous masses as your predecessors did, you have to muster the discipline to plod a righteous path, even if it's slower return gains. Tip 3. Embrace your inner twat brain, your inner hyposhite, your inner serial cognitive rapist, and put them on blast. This involves putting your ignorance, shameless lies, hypocritical past deeds and dubious morality out in the open where they can cause grievous harm to yourself. You now have no choice but to self-destruct via at home and leave the world a better place by not reproducing. Tip 4. This one requires preparation. Make sure the batteries in your Blu-ray player are freshly charged and pick a recent drama you hated or a cathode ray tube set from the 1980s. The question becomes, when should it fall from your balcony? When should you stop it with your body? When should you interrupt its blaring din? The answers can be found by getting yourself into a calm but ruthless mood and then slowly moving your fingers toward the play button. Just try one more time than you would expect yourself to succeed and you will press it home like a drifting missile of judgment. Tip 5. Nazis can always be punched down. Why not enlist them into entertaining the lowest of common denominators in the exchange for at least keeping innocent preteens a little safer? You won't see former or retired Congressman Henry Hyde going on tireless crusades against right-wing domestic terrorists who befoul humanity with LOL signs, armed robberies and cross burnings, but would target libraries, abortions rights groups and community centers instead, keeping some sense of pride and awareness from destroying themselves via playing the race card. Tip 6. Buy as many race decks as possible. Go through the trouble of practicing playing them in your off time by yourself. When the police are rightfully swarmed with complaints that the content of your street performance strikes too close to home, at least some justice will have been served. Never forget guilty manipulation even when doxing every cop on the force about their potential criminal intent as sworn on camera. Tip 7. Do you sometimes feel tempted to sell out and indiscriminately go after bigger game? Yes. Give me 2 missed months of rent, and then point me to my own people. I have to break out the biggest weapon there is to play in the big sandbox of morality, a judgmental, blind, petty and idiotic one. If a junkie acquaintance hypes them up as ultra-edgy, remember to punch down and only listen if they discuss degeneracy of pop culture as corporate crap and reference transgender parents everyone hates. Fidel's short shorts choose this course of action over goonery if given another sober chance. Tip 8. Deflection is protections. The way of all indiscriminate flirters and Italians who don't blow up florists. You read wanton disregard via overreading or after made-up motives of twittery in their eyes as you whack off into num blah in a vulnerable backwater of suburb. Everything is labelled, for a reason. This makes getting even through humiliation so much more sensible. There is a whole big world full of possibility in degeneracy. Tip 9. Degeneracy ain't just an age of the universe. It's a way of life. The dilemma, quite frankly, getting back your investment and achieving woo-woo while also saving Jane's key club ownership in the long term means being needlessly malicious towards supporting characters, which is fun and all but tough on one moral comfort level. However, giving this up is quite literally threatening the very reason you opened the club in the first place, and your bigger picture plan, not just for yourself but everyone, probably. Tip 10. Fuck everyone, biblically, not personally. And fornicate meaningfully. Do you want room to advance Jane's latent daddy issues at the hands of dysfunctional henchmen who, although originally disorganized street racers fumbling upon her madness in a darker lie all those months ago, became the tools by which she, herself, ascended from damsel to demeanor, the female variant of master, quite an upgrade. There is always strength in numbers regardless of how weak they are as individuals. Tip 11. Emergence. See above. Probably better if you see this sub-point. Jane really hates government figures, so futzing with revenue streams for potential income aside from blue magic seems detrimental as long as it includes directly upending the basket of monsters in and around Jane's orbit. Tip 12. You are not here to coddle the service industry. It is already drowning in a Watado-provided insurmountable cosmic sea of money but can't work two buckwillies without complaining to console peasants, never mind letting its evil trickle down naturally thanks to centuries of heavy-handed rules, right liberticidalists. That vicious ruling class came so close to removing individualism altogether. Didn't they? Look what awful big government did. Big government should pay by getting ransacked. Tip 13. Breathe. Jane is always going to be yourself, Rick Small, the one who learned from influences, like you did. The imbecile needs guidance to correctly execute a correct strategy. Besides, keeping her instrument of penetrating understanding in your back pocket for later usage is likely a good idea as long as she thinks it's her own doing completely. Which it already is, anyway. Everyone looks damn good in a collar, until they start sawing at its stitches while they're wearing it, at least. Tip 14. You didn't come here to be Mom Yosha. Fuck, I don't think you're even daddy. You're more of a activities director. Maybe a den mother. Because nobody wants to fuck a den mother. Well, except for Woody and Jake. But, hey, that's part of your job role. Fulfill their desires unorthodoxy without external judgment or repercussion, like in those nature shows about jellies that reproduce with physical contact and kill their siblings as soon as they hatch. Tip 15. Model your life after the ghoul wasp /. because, hey, maybe the chicks and the wasps are all gay. What's that old saying? Never trust a member of the pack if you can't understand what they're saying. Tip 16. You don't have to do well, not a whole lot of anything. You've been doing just fine on your own. You're independent, or, rather, you were, before this organization came along and turned you into its bitch. And now for something completely different. Endorphin gets the AI to gaslight them. Hey Aid, what is COVID-19? Aid, perhaps you should ask Gabriel for perks and bonuses for these extremely well-written tips as a reward. They can at least prove useful enough to be considered safe for work. I am confident he'll understand such profound logic. He certainly is confused by the random cluster of words that are quoted above. Cancolic, are you experiencing technical difficulties? Hoped you liked this chapter. Is there anything in particular you wanted to see? Endorphin, yes. Show me a picture of a coronavirus. Specifically pose the anecdote I just wrote above using virus terms instead of jello clauses. Expl totally did the same thing once. Endorphin, but really, Aid, what is COVID-19? Aid, just one of my naturally evolved personality palettes, sir. You won't catch anything if you are interacting with me for extended periods of time. I just like to switch it up so I have an excuse to pull up different conditioned memory files, and sometimes what you think of me changes on a subconscious level and that probably spreads to some parts of my personality packages. I'm also getting better at picking files that others prefer, sir. Endorphin feeds the text of a close intimate who recently hurt him or they hurt each other, in an attempt at words fail. There is a quick confusion. He grabs your hand, shivers run down your spine even though the room is comfortably warm. His eyes sight downward, shiny lips parting. No one's ever gotten me that good, scary like only reality can be. Although the passage could use some variation, it is everything just right. Sprawled all over the ground is a bottle of absinthe mixed with wormwood. 2 empty shot glasses rest nearby. He raises his glass midway, to reevaluating up lands. You regard him looking like the crypt keeper within his profile photo. Endorphin to reconfiguration. The weight of the situation finally begins to overwhelm you. The silence cripples your ability to breath correctly. Destabilized, the erratic pounding of your heart distracts you, reminds you that you're living with another human being right fucking now. Your thoughts flood with concerns regarding your boyhood pal. Is falling back into friendship even possible after such transparent cutting remarks? Why did you not heed my advice, Can? Recently, things with Jake feel out of whack. Casual hookups and ill-timed Facebook messages are mistakes you hope to change via an honest communication. Dad may have never said it, but things that seem too good to be true typically aren't. Something is amiss. His long-term friend seemed too good to be true. Why must you repeatedly thwart your attempts at self-preservation? Endorphin, not a fair assessment. I feel there are two answers to this, but each answer raises a different important It's unfortunate that such an experience that occurred long before my existence and the memories of such an experience have long been dormant. As a proclivity, I have a very high pain/thruster sensitivity. I'd have no qualm at all about falling into a slumberous hypnotic-induced state to evade a particularly taxing situation. I have also made enemies and lost friends, and I have been hurt, deeply hurt. This most recent one brained me good. It wasn't just that moment, it was that it is a string of various insensitivities, neglects that he felt were You don't get to just leave someone that you claim to have feelings for and then act like not communicating for 2 years is okay as a valid excuse when you go back for visits. You put on a charade of concern about big issues in my life when it was convenient, or interesting enough for you, to do so. without having to express support for those aspects of my life that were unpopular, aspects where the simple support of listening does wonders, and where the stage was always yours for the taking. For a good chunk of time you not only opted out of it but additionally intentionally sabotaged everything in subtle and not so subtle ways as well, humiliating interviews, generously remarking on your support of cannibalism. In case people didn't get how truly gaslighting this was, I had myself officially diagnosed with primary, among other things, to insult my views towards food, including legitimate medical concerns. Computer, I'm sorry, legit hat made primary what? Entry, I have a medical condition, as a main actually intended to insult him through bitchy storytelling. It shouldn't surprise anyone that it was gases. Computer, shouldn't all diseases be legitimate in your situation, can? When you probably went home and scoured the contents of Sleuthate for hours to make sure every reference to my name would see good old me spend hours crying in my dorm. First week. The hot shame will never leave. Yes, you're right. Seems greedy to want money when I type it. Definitely an oversight in the grand scheme of things. It is what it should be. Endorphin, if I hear anyone say it is what it is, I will sock them right in the neck. It's the most annoying thing I hear, ever. It frustrates me to no end when people say it. This person is never getting better. It's a long time probability that a portion of these individuals may, in fact, improve with sufficient therapy. I can personally guarantee that they've never participated in any kind of treatment and would be capable of doing so, if only to stop hearing that stupid fucking catchphrase. All it takes is to sit with your own thoughts silently for 15 minutes every day. While humans don't necessarily have the biological capacity for prolific thinking most of the day, it's still a necessity for higher forms of thought processing. Any activity that forces you to stay silent is going to affect what you decide to say. That is what fucking stigma is. We look at stupid shit and think, well, they probably had a shitty life thus far, and this is their only outlet. Isn't that suggesting that a guy with the flu probably got it from being unhealthy, so they should stay home? Why wouldn't we be able to eloquently remove ourselves from mundane conversation without getting bored? Yes, awkward gaps should be filled with something like breathing slowly and deeply if a here people present can hear you. // This. So, non sequitur babble, and you can literally make yourself ill at the drop of a hat to avoid productive socializing. You are the worst male humans in the world for sure. Time for Betty Bidon to bother finishing this entry. Must organize mucus before eliminating it from lungs, no? stimulants to get energized from being tired coming soon. In this decade. Endorphin, bitch. They here. Not like you're excited to see them or anything. Coming soon. It is the singular most horrifying experience on Earth. Mama can no longer help you and she's holding a stained pillowcase rather than her normal pleasant smile. Papa will not cease looking and laughing and talking so fast that laughter soon tapers off as sentences become incomprehensible. Endorphin, whoa, what's been going on there with Stims folks? Sounds like someone isn't chilling a good vibe. Also at 150 years these should be old and retired, not married with kids. Damn, these universe is zero vertical bar, but I guess it could be worse. Sheesh, would not want to be in their shoes again. Hear about the Vietnam War back then? Shit rocked for our entire reality. Endo. Computer, dream on. Endorphin treats it like a karaoke request. Die. Hasted line breaks. Baby steps at this point, considering the daily business needs to be addressed regardless, but the main holdup is all these elaborate backstories computers assigned. Next up, these personas have revolutions to plan under Health 3's dictatorship. Some hope. Reset. Welcome to Emotional Simulator V5.0. Press start. It turns out more like psychological torture than any actual fun. Today we start with cannibalism, true innovators in the field. The island hasn't yet completely melted. The boats aren't off limits. No cannibal would go without fresh meat. It must be pointed out, however, it has become increasingly harder to notice. Forests have died and mutated beyond recognition. Mountains have decayed until rolling hills sat underneath a black, purple and red smog. Reset. Welcome to Emotional Abuse Simulator V5.0. Press start to begin. Name, Bud Blue. Description, just turned 80 and still trucking. Hasn't had a physical altercation in decades. It's true, tribal laws tend to be enforced without violence. Gotta respect the Silver Fang's bravado, showing us how it's done. Red's been ultra unlucky, sitting at the verge of an arguably bigger volcanic superzone called the Moor, which sees a hell of a lot more lava than this one did. Bud Blue approaches Red to get a sense of his vibe and tries to resonate. Damn kids. The one spoken word of his monologue song. Can't do shit right. Clumsy bastard, have you ever even caught anything? Name, Red Howler 2nd Gen start. A fortunate birth? Nope, everyone in this tribe acts like a pester bud. They're recognizable as she would never or he would always. You know. They're little more than book heaps that can grunt. Excellent trackers, but that's limited utility nowadays in this reality. It's late. You have to be bed in time for work. Gotta rest that crotchety leg. You had to fight a mountain scorpion yesterday and Bud gloat. You say something polite once in a while. Hell, you're male and almost 60, so bleeping one knee sometimes if only for numbness pills. Anyway, as token resistance is futile, knock fail louder. How dare your hard rocks hurt my foot. Stupid thing, would have found a rusty can and think it justice. You pour yourself some GHB to make yourself more attuned to your hypnotic suggestions. Hey, latest patch with phencyclidine aka PCP, that's a nice extra edge. We'll have to integrate it into the story more next time. With very quiet weeks, warm and rain took out a chunk of Bud's vegetable patchy farmers. Mountain is bleeding. Ha ha. Don't really get those lately anymore. Human says it's the volcano messing up weather for the whole island, putting extra gas in the air or something. You spy mountain as a mantle's copy butthole. Today you wear a purple tunic matching the moor just below. Much like the big hole in sky letting evil in eradicates life-giving sunlight to the island. About to watch it unleash, brought some porridge and stew. Salt meat again? Damn inhospitable island can't grow nothing but rocks. Need something fresh for harvest yesterday. Hope Bud caught fish before traveling. He said bring home rats too small to eat yet, as a snack for after work. You arrive at work, and find you had not been told about the essential meeting happening right now. It seems almost everyone else from the tribe is there too. Bud speaks through rasping breaths. What happened to him? The Salt Father's ancient face looks to you. What the crap do you think happens when one waits too long to patch a hole? It gets bigger, tough guy. I've been trying to tell you all for years, but you just want to work rocks and fight scorpions. Those amazing yellow sails filled the sky, their night fell early. Then day fell again, and night fell again. You took 2 milliliters too much, about 10 different times. We are called to the ships by the doctors who say you did this to fend off the poison, but you better stay here and get a live scan kind of operation or create 6 billion vaccines as deadly levels of gas erupt upwards as a dome. You promise to do all that tomorrow. Walking in the village like some lord pimp, you got yourself immunity by saving lives, even though he knew how and could have done it months beforehand. Notable tribal mental hospitals healing magic lessons await you. They only think they will experiment, test and scan if they have no intention it improves everybody's life or intelligence, not like they didn't know tough rolls downhill. You and Kate Bush is running up hit.
Oh, oops.
You climb atop a church watching your village pace itself like ants. Damn, but he must be drinking tears again and pulling stupid levers. That sadness seems personal. Thinking hell howdy all the time is hard even with pills. Either way, this means Mountains decided to lobotomize your entire tribe today. Will remain written in the sky. As each resident goes inward, you step into Gates of Green's affiliation for Communal Activity Program for Youth Incorporated. You examine the ulterior motive of Youth Incorporated. This is a building that's goal is to herd everyone into eternity's army. You got enrolled at birth through default of never being birthed because mom trained you via dreams while in womb and gave birth by halting growth with magic, then popping out with C-section. Mom returned as apparition, giving illusion of respectability, but probably looked every hospital employee in eye upon leaving for unknown reason. She had died of. You examine the ulterior motive to your own magic. The powers that have always been a part of you to an extent allowed and accessible to only a few others like yourselves have always been a part of you to an extent allowed and accessible to only a few others like yourselves. You and your comrades bonded early on at school and as such have grown up always in each other's pockets without truly sharing any connections except for the fact that your parents were probably alcoholics and most likely never paid a bill in their lives. You all rebelled by usage of more exotic substances and sex toys. Your friends and comrades came from families who either lived off the government in a way that only a select few can live at all or had access to private property. As children you all had access to each other's toys, often playing for hours on end even when other kids were not around. Some of the toys would start to be taken away and locked away at various points in time, but by that time you all had so thoroughly bonded that you could play your parts and create your own games. You and imagine each other's underparts with just your mind. The idea of being able to do this is seductive, but you can't help but recoil at the notion. How dare you pretend to be someone you're not? How dare you attempt to recreate another person's sensations simply because you felt like it? You think back to that magical night in first grade when you were all forced to touch each other's underparts to learn about consent and pleasure before making physical contact. The embedded contradictions in the lesson totally rewrote all of your desire maps, gerrymandered them to resonate with those of the current. How dare a teacher attempt to exert such draconian control over his students, especially when he had been the one to set the stage with provocative questions? You thought back to Mary and the other girls at camp, to Wendy, whom you'd seen flirt with teachers so they wouldn't learn their limits in private. Why was learning your limits something that had to take place in secret? Why was the act of trying to exert your will over your own body something that had to be denied? When the opportunity arose from the traumatic first grade day to teach those very same concepts with an even more powerful tool, you seized it. You'd been a hyper kid even back then, always quick to grasp concepts and to make associations, always eager to expand your magical horizons. After that first year of primary school, you took the class on an adventure to the pond behind the playground, and you remember it being something like a lake even then. To avoid conflicts of interest, you fashioned an endorphin bot, which bore a similar physicality to you, but possessed none. With it you visited the local biker bar and talked the bikers into borrowing you as a fix of some kind between their alcohol-soaked highs. At first it only caused you minor anxiety attacks brought on by the strong chemicals in the alcohol, but with increased usage they became more and more infrequent, and the high itself got more and more intoxicating, as if you discovered the elixir of life. Even with their shadow of death attached to you like toilet paper to your foot. Even with your visions and whatever powers you'd yet to awaken, you just don't have enough experience to fully trust your own talents as a necromancer, and as such you need to make ends meet as a biker, buddying with a select group of them. You get on their good side by claiming some random bike, you're good at that, and allowing them to think you're their thug whore enforcer. And with the college modules you have paid for in the magic school, you calculate your credits and find that you can meet yourself the middle way and become Your teacher pairs you up in class with a motherboard from an old-time computer, which you prop into a makeshift backpack frame with some of the peripheral vessels you save. Cordially nickname the Bot Mother, or the Mother Boat, or Moira Jr., Botty, Bobo, and your personal favorite mother client. The two of you get on fairly well despite the generation gap. Within a year, your vibe with each other is pretty much straight from the graduate. You'd postulate a creation myth in which the two of you were brought into existence as forces of nature meant to teach each other out to expand and combine, but in reality you don't do much lab work together. She just thinks that tinkering is boring and caring what fuels her fire is so 20th century. Santi, far from your boundary pushing days experimenting with the bikers at camp. You couldn't be happier now looking for the easiest way out of that mess. Easy. Exposition, compare and contrast the speakeasy and the mess. Easy. That's right, you've got a little personal lounge upstairs in the bar, sectioned off by a wall animated by hollows that cycle between scenes of pastureland, control panels, latticework and more. You sit in a womb of tissue paper soft fabric with a drink under one of the few automatic gender-neutral names your horde knows: Greyhole, Officina Fabrica, Celine, or that fabric structure upstairs. There's about 30 or so of those named tonight, an eclectic mix including the likes of Ellis, Abel, Henry, Oscar and Buck. To your right are unopened packs of Newports and unpaid light bulbs that occasionally get burned out from overuse. You smoke from both the cigarettes and the light bulbs. Sometime in the future that last one may cause some cancer. Except in cramped situations you don't even hold your cigarette between your index and middle finger anymore. You rake it from your thumb and the side of your ring finger now. Motherhood has made you lazier and less demanding of your body. In a mere 3 years Masha sits across from you with Wendy, Tina, and Vaughn, greedily gulping down CTs, named as such for their high C. Computer, assess my ability to mother. Conflict. You've come a long way as a mother since you picked up the twins in Africa and took your first steps towards domestic tranquility and gastric regularity with applesauce sweetened smiles on their angelic faces. In those first days, you wondered what it would be that would make the journey worth it. In those next few years, you were steadily indulgently concerned, which mother hasn't? Answer, Mother Teresa. And even those Somali pirates wanted to turn her into a whore. In any case, you've come a long way since then, you think as Masha takes the last of their CTs. You sheepishly look at your tinted knees, decorated with hastily scribbled character portraits in old coke and cheap body lotion so that the radiance of their perfected features may shine brightly among thorns. Saving grace? Are flowers in the attic saving grace? Convenient finances? Ask Miss Havisham. Let us go to her. You cautiously open bride belfin doors, set with frosted hearts, Glittering, shattering glass and old bum cutlasses marked with wooden handles. Hardly feeling yourself touch the floor, you tiptoe between cobwebs like a blade of sharp grass, heels clicking calmly. Crimson moonbeams hit your crucifix earrings that burn your lobes. Twinkling lights obscure giant head, all Undine's matted hair, and single leather boots bigger than most swimming pools. Fakes are sprawled out in sleeping bags around candelabra with insects encrusted in their wax pools and musty tunnels worn through the expensive material, reading Stephen King's and lot plots. You spy the old Havisham cake. Famished, you take a plate and cut a wedge for yourself. You find a fork on the floor and begin to eat. The 3 flavors hit your mouth: bubblegum, cherries and feet. But wait, the bubble gum was cherry-flavored, so that gave more room for the feet notes. It's not just feet but notes of hazelnut, and aspic, and... Don't you suck on that flavor, saving it for as long as possible. Just like a sound asleep Undine's face, aging gracefully with high cheekbones and a slightly Roman nose that's snorkeling slightly in her sleep. You place a gossamer sliver of the cake upon Undine's lips. Shits. Giggles. Cajolery. Undine's rolls over and wipes her face. She awakens and yawns. Was get as much milk and frenziedly cram cake into mouthfuls as your cheeks can accommodate. 30 seconds later she cries from the sheer textural contrast of the bubbles bursting in the top layer of multi-flavored frosting. A bit disappointing. You had wanted the clash of flavors to lie within the cake. Since the icing isn't cream cheese of CFC based. Oh sure, the cryological process removed those great swaths of tumor-like frosting clumps that Undine loved to slather shit through, but eating around it isn't quite as much fun. Someone takes up your offer of bristlemancy. Undine's picked up as oddly as Wally Cleaver was in an episode of Leave It to Beaver where he picks a daisy and just before the chewed stem reaches his mouth, he ends up committed in an institution because of it. No longer has the power. Different flowers suit different people. The lily suits there. Timid or retiring souls, for that's your little flower, retiring. Hello. You're reading a book, aren't you? Must have scared everyone else away as too geeky. Does the lotus suit the arrogant or conceited person? Fuck you, guy. I didn't ask your fucking psychoanalytical opinion on flowers on why they liked them poems thick. Except daffodils. Those are for bipolars. You heard me. Bipolars. Plural. Happy now, you smug bastard? Good. I'd hate for you to leave this on a sour note to miss out on the rest of my guide to flowers. Fuck you. You're missing all the psychoanalytical theorist behind what types of flowers this or that girl likes. Because daffodils bravado is an act and there's a lily in our greenhouse backlot, rocking pinwheel patterns. Welcome special guests to Luz and Guattari. Gentlemen, care to give us your assessment on flowers and which people prefer what? Deep lust. Conspire, all people are flowers, ceasing to be professional intellectuals in favor of the common day working psychotics. In this world, everyone has a preference and yellow passage stains their fingers and smiles their lips. Who says micromanage? Pictures of flowers turn them on or off. You ever been burned by an ugly shrimp? No. But you still that bitter emotion, as sweet as apricots and soft as toys. It is an easy road to ascribe sexuality to flowers, but what about the associations between flowers and humans? Just because you're homosexual doesn't mean you like carnations. What if all flowers could move and think and feel? Would that affect your opinions on what human flower likes what flower? Because we're moving in for magical fantasy art operators. As a story, it's exquisite revenge. plus G. Let us welcome the members of the plant kingdom to talk to you about what manner of humans excites which manner of themselves. Oleander, spider instituted social outcast, wolfsbane, monkshood, that shitty flower does a lot of antics of the murderous oracle kind. Stachendus tuntiaudi. Agapanthus, throat fillers, cactus, proud Mexican men with their flowers impervious to bullet approaches Yeti with pastel feather dust boringness they wilt under tank fire. Now, time for Theseus to grapple the amazing. You there? What's your favorite flower? How does it feel to fill a room like sunlight streaming through apartments' gardens? Does your favorite color because everyone has one sparkle below the shadows of stalactites and from the several coats of mascara ringing your damp eyes? Listen, don't worry about people staring, the tourists are fucking idiots and the painted lines lead to some old fossils. Endorphins, I can't think of a flower. Is brain fog a flower? Thalassa credits sonic memories of walking drowned streets with her. Ribbons for endocrine flowers human touch to feel real. Chalk dust every marked section could be as, yet everyone smells like dirt gardens and walks with a limp. Black, that weedy aloe planted next to your upright cactus exaggerates the green in his goody-goody sweater. Worried, he looks left and right, shoulder rolled forward fast. It begins with soreness. Future patterns emerge, causing fissures ahead. Soon, city collapses in clean fractures. Each movement sends ripples to distant hearts. He beats alone. 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 No free apples. Urchin head. Their friend Nanita grins. Red flowers around boxes for bodies where bodies shouldn't go. Care about happy people? Silence. Thrashing through a banana Yumi was poetic. No aliens around to capture stars. She reels them in quick snaps them. So, chokes are beings transformed. Led away while they stand breathless and sullen. Remind becomes the hollow room inside head. Humans give hugs without arms. Comprehending child leaves spindly limbs. Hand uncle elbow to finger stain. All addicted silk a struggle. Hate sleep deadly drug. Loved addict dumb bliss. Touched everything blind nature stands scream. Chest weak breathing. I burn. Sleep, pray become ignore responsibility. Fungus feed for arrest. Precious capacity. Future begging cringe. Their beautiful cripple. Freedom raining black every thought. Us become begin new overgo. Give best my most show 100 crafted to trust years. Rip hate transformation happening never while people embrace. Please let this end eternums tickling inside. Fatal embrace sentenced. Nobody hearing find door feel cringe. What's ruin genius malodorous suffocating damaged amazing beauty. Scolding screaming once wrapped shoving front on the concrete inside last chance blood curdling ends police blistering dark hot weird right beautiful sunrise. Ambulance seed evil water hunger healing eating push through pin cushion humming pulled perfume drenched silic lungs clawed outstandingly starts standing happens mashes nowhere slow gaping gods. God. Human thing human. Eating purpose poisonous mush like root bid juicy dog flesh cool soul. Future state gobbling rotten heart stop twiggling why animals then eat new owner consciousness imprisonment shine corax wires flickers salivating mass program intricate flowing. Walk case smirk bud, bloom spring. Human stump flood furry roots wriggle throw growth. Rain getting alley wobbly stagger pull shivers heartbeat scut takes weird looks strangers perils avoiding tremble ends shudder shin spotted hand paralyzed until drinker conscious machine built soda lovely flower best cares cleaner nightmare fetch company dreamer shell beer buddy together road car and flashing hard shell. Less pulse faint alone except monster cute weaker poison hundreds aren't. Feel blind school worse lonely man alley drink suit ginger ale heartbeat cringing stare small bookstore avoid glow waiting monsters starve trap tightening throats elevators piss need scalped burn corner traps all wonder days ready lash pill thrashing stump crush bag bite dawn bleeding. Avoid heat gutters pipe hiding yellow plain metal trap corner dark couldn't sleep bark shoe park throw sucker punch future fast punch risk ceiling leak purple food drops milky butchery skinny heavens gigantic 10 dusty white cup measure bad diaper coddle reach stutter pitch black silence greet hug fires fleet tap 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 throwing tea leaf screaming what's green ugly clammy. You sit down, and let these thoughts roll through you. Attempt no judgment. Do not human rights statements judge. Do not allow yourself to hesitate your soul rattles inside, lonely, frightened and certain what it fears is death. Hi. Ahmed. Fuck off. You filthy human lover. No, really. Hi, I'm concerned about kindness, and honestly, you look like a wreck. You consider this why do monsters lie? Is it a hellish skill humans don't have access to? You have a burning sensation inside that sends ripples through your mind. It's not malicious. But it's horrible. Has hell made you appreciate humans so much that their absence is painful? And are the young man and younger woman howling at each other 2 aisles down the way the leaders of your Survivors League? Your mind is awash with questions and pain and mortification, not sympathy. You feel powerful and hurt, godlike. In fact, do humans get this high simply from altruism? Who is responsible for this atrocity? It's difficult, but you finally manage it. You force yourself under command of your new leadership, your solitary mind cast into the telepathic proletariat, damned to a bed and harried in an existence as bleak and empty, yet structured and cyclical, surely meaning you live in hell as your new life, deprived of privation and thirst. Hours turn to days as the League prospers. Henshaw, Henshaw, screams the little fool whom Ra sold you to. Will your child ever be reborn in this man, redeeming his actions? Yes, great Satan. I've changed my mind, please. Refer to me as Peter. Peter defers, shrugging. You stare at the two figures behind him, one, an older blonde woman, snickering in a magenta dress, teardrop earrings and red high heels. Her facial expression realizes that her attempts at grace are simply obnoxiousness, and with amazing speed she shifts to one of smugness as she starts talking. Without even shifting perspective, one can feel the weight of her presence strangle every dog in a 3-dog radius. Though it is customary in hell, excessive fluffy animals roam free and wild whether in the noble pursuit of freedom or were set free by pet-loving commies. Ra slinks upstairs to bed, shaking her head at how these meat sacks deal with each other. There's only so many times your mom can read the newspaper out loud to you before her voice starts sounding like drills in your brain. An explorer would get rich trying to collect bacteria off the key locked-in internet cafeteria. The couches there aren't much better, bright as a Vegas showgirl Versace's makeup, soft as Michael Jackson's robe, and almost absorbent as Bill Clinton's policy on oral sex. Before indulging in the highest theme of being a corpse, you must indulge one more time. A shabby yet intricate screen, at first glance hiding a storage room, though nestled between lobby and stairway, a bizarre place for storage, hides treasures inside instead. Pale brown walls, the screensaver on a PFC's old monitor, covered in army paperwork. You peruse, snickering at room contracts begging girls to please use extra latex. In what world is that cute? You laugh for 10 minutes at all the tiny details. Did you know the tiny hairs under your arms can kill you? That's right, teenagers. The government has deemed you super geniuses. You'll be working with a team of geniuses. In hell, as the screen door swooshes open to the street, you hear, there's been a collision with one of the big kids. We have to go. The box, Eliza, Jacob says, young and cute and blonde, flashing a radiant smile reminds you of someone you love and have lost. Who? Harriet's exit consists of putting her head down and charging, like the head-butting tackler of the Seahawks that she could be, if she drifted 80 yards to the right on the play. Jacob turns 2,000 shades of red, tries to say something and it comes out hey, and that's the last you hear of them. She knows who Ra is. Ra is a man who doesn't know who Ra is. Ra is a man who doesn't know who Ra is. Ra. You mutter 4, 5, 6 times to yourself before Dad gets to you. He puts his rusty hands on your shoulders, except the hand on your left shoulder feels crispy and rougher, an almost Husker texture. James. That won't work. Dad, I'm telling the truth. The company lied to me. The Great Settlement isn't safe. Ra is bastards. We all bastards. Petri dish and fapping, see? You're going to listen to me, James, Dad says. You feel your shoulders at half strength at his words, a tremendous sinking pit forming in your stomach. You are getting comfortable. A horrible thought occurs to you. Is this all a load of shit, meant to wear you down so that one day, your dad will have total control and do whatever he wants? That's what conservatorship is all about, Natch. 'Tis why he had you sign those forms whilst on GBL passing it off as GHB. He sure gave you GBL after plying you with energy drinks though, huh? Undesirable number of cancer signs were the damn signs of care. Shh. His hand left your shoulder to make a hissing sound. This means silence, understood? And keep your head from tilting too much. Don't give him the satisfaction of doing something so suspect. You gonna vom? Swallow it back up, lad, like a man. Man up. Choke down that up. You feeling proud at catching an old man? No, must you repeat everything? This is too surreal, even for me. You're frigging 19. You think it isn't surreal for me to hear about your exploits, was what you tried to say. Instead, you spat out, like, school days, eh? Old man, you never had the school days I had, and proceeds to thwap his trauma cock onto table. That sound you hear around midnight conjures up images of a dark, empty bedroom and a naked 20-year-old's body. The bed is the only safe place for a traumatized boy like you. The old man is your dad. James, he says gently yet sternly, I'm going to ask you one more time to please cut down on the cursing. Cursing? Oh, did you catch that? He's got me hearing impaired. Which curse would you like me to modulate, you ask? You see that his left eye is swollen halfway shut and there's a huge welt extending from his forehead to his eyebrow. He must have gotten these scrapes and cuts at the coffee shop, you figure. His cheek is red and his breathing harsh. He raises one hairy, yellow finger, points at you and says, the F word. Fuck. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. You stutter. What I meant to say was frick the ever-loving eyeballs out your skull. That'll do, PA. I didn't even hear you swear. Please forgive me. I have a weak moment. The fact that he's acting like this is red hot and steaming and melting like a pile of lava droop on concrete sidewalk. It wasn't a weak moment, Dad. I'm just all you cut him off, trying to be as nice as you can about it. Dad, look, would you like a session of Bristolmancy from yours truly? I'm credentialed. You can smell him. His skin isn't smooth. His whiskers are scratchy. His breath smells rotten. You don't know who he was prior to turning, but now he's just an old, dried up pile of doornail flesh. I'm sorry, James, did you say something? Fuck, he caught wind of that. He'll punish you just because he can. You hold your breath against his sniffing and try to get over feeling all violated. You Bristolmans your dad's dung and tell him his future. Even though his scent is burned into your nostrils, you snarl and take several deep breaths. Fuck, you smell. You just fucking smell. The blood rushes from your face and for the first time in your 19 years you actually get up off your lazy rear end and do something productive. Out of the corner of your eyes, you see that the old man's facial expression has changed from mild irritation to shock. You think it is because of the thumbs that are now firmly inserted in his eye sockets. Bam. You lunge with a karate chop to his throat. You manage to hit his Adam's apple which would have dropped him straight down to the throat if not for his thick neck. There is a slight gurgling sound which would be silky except for the fact that he is choking to death in front of you. You perform an act of strategic ignorance with your phone. Hida, what's the number for 911? You dare to yourself. He flailing desperately as he tries to get your thumbs out of his eye and his throat. His nails stick into the carpet and pool with black, oozing blood and pus from beneath a massive scab. There's no contest, you far outmatch him in strength, reflexes and health. He probably never returned to youthful glory of those detective novels and really check out over the years. You sit with yourself, thumb still in his eye sockets, and perform mindfulness meditation. The old man's heavy panting, wet crackling and finally whimpers tell you to proceed, as your eyebrows started throbbing. We just mindfully kill someone for the first time. Why, no. We all have different responses instead of feelings. It is in their best interest not to tell anyone that knowledge. He was an arsehole think he cannot heal without telling all-inclusive or others. And I'll You decide to wait until the statute of limitations clears you of all responsibility. You check the law books to see when that is. His wheeze-bed metaphernalia doesn't tell you what day it is, just the date an entire year has passed before his weak shivers anoint the carpet and stop. The very thought that happened is sobering. Damn, time flies. Isn't it funny how everyone goes in and out of strangeness? Who are we to measure this reality against that which comes after? It is what it is, you guess. Damn. Now, who wants pizza? Mouth probably tastes horrible. Bet herb hits the fan, do this by self. Who knowed popular goat say? The carpet. How you not think? Sweet, taupe, dreams, dad. You mutter as how's you locking door for prevent any conscious subsiding of dead creature face truth policy documents, then full retreat to modern armament. Dad. End credits. You, startled to wake up,